Welcome back to Larrikin, Japan. So today I thought we'd have a little bit of a talk about some things I really like about Japan, and would sort of make it pretty hard to go back to Australia actually, with these things. So I think number one is how polite people are. In Japan everyone's very polite. If you go to a shop and you want help, it's no problem. Like in Australia, if you go to a shop, yeah, what do you want, sort of thing. They don't really care, like here customer service is really number one. They really look after people, so it is a big thing. Customer service, politeness, everyone is really polite. It's really good actually. Everyone's very friendly, and everyone's polite. It makes it really easy, and next one would be like on the road, because people are polite. If you're merging, it's very easy to get in. People usually let you in. They don't worry about blocking you and that sort of stuff. You do get a little bit of road rage sometimes. You see it on the TV, and sometimes you get idiots riding bikes everywhere just causing trouble. You do get a few idiots, but I think you're going to get idiots wherever you go. It's not you always get your few morons, but on the whole, driving in Japan is pretty good. It's there's a lot of cars and that sort of thing. You get traffic jams and that, but on the whole, most people are pretty polite and courteous, so it makes it pretty easy. Now, drink driving, I'm not saying there's no drink driving. There would be some drink driving. Some people do. I know I have been at a convenience store and I've seen someone come in and throw a beer can in the trash can and then buy another beer and get in their car. But I think it's very, very low compared to like Australia. They have the random breath tests there, and the amount of people they catch for drink driving. And some people are just, like 4 times over the legal limit and this sort of stuff, blow your mind. They can hardly walk and they're driving a car. So we don't have that sort of thing. Well, not that you hear of, not that you see, but I think it is very, very low drink driving. And on that sort of drink driving, another thing would be drugs. Here you never really hear about drugs like marijuana and methamphetamines and all this sort of stuff, ice or whatever it is. I don't know what half this stuff is anyway. But I've been here a long time and I've never heard of anyone really doing drugs, or you don't hear anyone selling drugs or anything like that. Same thing in Australia, like when they do the random breath tests, they test them for drugs. The amount of people that get busted for drugs while they're driving, it is unbelievable. It's just off the charts. But here it's just not a big thing. As I said, I've never heard of anyone, or I don't know anyone who takes drugs or has been on drugs and that sort of stuff. It's just not a thing that's what happens. I don't know, you just don't hear about it. Another thing would be theft. There's very little theft in this country. Like I've said before, like sometimes I come home and there's an Amazon parcel sitting on my doorstep. Like when they drop it off, they take a photo of it and you get an email with the parcel on your doorstep. You come home, it's still sitting there. People don't come and take it. Like in Australia and America, they're following the trucks around stealing the things as soon as they're delivered. Here you don't get that. People really don't steal. There is a little bit of theft around. We had the police around the other day telling us to be careful, make sure we lock our windows and this sort of stuff. It has changed a bit over the years we've been here, but on the whole it's not bad. You don't really hear of a lot of break and enters, and like in Australia, in Queensland especially, the youth crime is out of control. These kids stealing cars, and there was one the other day. These kids they hijacked a car from a woman and they crashed into a grandmother and killed her. She died. So this sort of thing you don't hear of it in Japan. You know, youth crime here, the teenagers here and that sort of thing are pretty good. They don't really cause a lot of trouble, not like they do in Australia, where they're friggin' all out of control. And like another thing, Japan's very safe. You know, you can walk around at night, no problem. You know, women, they walk around at night and don't have any problem at all. It is very safe. You know, you don't see fights on streets, and there's no guns and that sort of thing. So it is very safe to live here. You don't have any real problem with that sort of thing. Safety is very high up. You know, we never have any, you don't hear of many fights or anything like that. You know, I'm not saying there's none. Sometimes you probably will. You know, there are a few of these sort of, you know, what do they call them? The bike groups and that. They're like just teenagers just riding around causing trouble. But, you know, they're not that bad. You know, you don't really have that. You know, another thing, what I really like is the healthcare system. You know, if you need something done, it's no problem. You pay a certain percentage of your salary goes to pay for the healthcare. You go to the doctor, you pay 30%. If you're really sick, if you need a major operation, they'll sort of do it for free. It doesn't cost anything. And after, you know, your aftercare is sort of free. My friend had open heart surgery done. It cost him nothing. And for a year after, all his medication, hospital visits, doctors and everything was all free. So that sort of thing is top notch. In Australia, you pay for Medicare, and then if you go to the doctor, it's free, or you pay very little. But you have to wait if you need major surgery and that, you have to wait for a long time, unless you've got private health insurance, and then that costs you a lot of money. I think my brother pays about $350 a month for private health insurance. So yeah, these sort of things, you know, it really makes it quite easy to live in Japan. You know, it makes it a very easy place to live. There's a lot of, it's not, what would you say, it's not very stressful living here. You know, like, you know, everyone's very polite, people are kind to you. You know, it's yeah, it is just an easy place to live, and you don't really get into much trouble. You know, it's not bad. It is really not bad. So, you know, like, yeah, so those are the main things I really like about Japan. You know, you haven't got a lot of drug use, people aren't driving around drunk as skunks, you know, crashing into you and that sort of thing. Not a lot of theft. You feel safe. You know, there's people, you know, got up and walked out of a restaurant and left their phone or their wallet on the table, and nobody takes it. You know, the people come back and the thing's still sitting there. This sort of thing, you know, it's really quite safe. So anyway, those are just a few of the things I really like about Japan. And if I did go back to Australia, I think they're things I'd really miss, because it does make it easy to live here. Anyway, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, catch you later.